Hey design. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is we're going to have to get our sketches. Okay, so if you decided to annotate your sketches in the PDF, then you're going to need to do some screenshots, okay, to make pictures of this. Okay, so I just go back to where you actually uploaded the PDF. So just open up your gridded sketches if you annotated it. And then you might have to take, several pictures, screenshots of this image. So how you do that is you're going to select the home button and the power button at the same time, or it's the little, I guess in middle school they called it the belly button, and the power button at the same time. And that's going to take a screenshot, and I'm just going to throw that off to the left. Now that is in my camera roll. So here you can see that. Here's my screenshot that I just did. Okay. Say you did it on paper, then you're going to just take pictures of that with your iPad. So I did that as well just so you could see. Okay. So how do we get started with actually designing our icons? So you're going to go to week 14 and you're going to go to the summative that says summative final icon symbol and index. And you're going to see an icongrids.ai file. You're going to select it. And you're going to go to the share button in the upper right hand corner and you're going to say save to files. So some people told me that they went to save to files and they didn't get this option of being able to save on your iPad. That might mean that you need to go to your files here, and where you see the ... say edit sidebar, you have to make sure that these are turned on so that you can actually save to your iPad. Okay, so I was in Canvas, and I'm going to save it to my Illustrator folder and hit save. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure you're saving it to your iPad, and then hit save. Sure, I'll hit replace. Okay, and so I tried actually just saving the PDF to my iPad and then placing it into Adobe Illustrator. It did not work. Okay, so I'm going to hit cancel. Okay, so now I'm going to open up Illustrator and I'm going to say import and open. And I'm going to go to that Illustrator file and then I'm going to open up the icon grids. Okay, so this is what the document's going to look like. These are 3 artboards and I've created guides for you, and right now the grid is on. So I'm going to go over to the right hand side and I'm going to turn off the grid just so you can see. And then I'm also going to turn off the guides. Okay, so under this option, you can, turn the guides on and turn the grid on. You can also change the grid to this dotted grid, which makes it a little bit easier to see. You can also change the color of the grid. You can, turn off the guides if you want to, keep them on. And there's also options at the top for snapping. So that means that while you're making objects, then it will you can snap to the grid, or you could actually snap to the smart guides. These blue ones are guides. So guides are just lines that you convert to guides, and they don't print. They're really just there to help you when you're trying to make a balanced, high quality image. Okay, so all those options are there if you want to leave them on, turn them off, but this is really helpful when you're making really precise mathematical designs. Okay, the other thing I wanted to show you was layers. Okay, so right now you have a layer that says guidelines, and you can lock that layer by picking the lock icon, or you could hide that layer by picking the eyeball, so that shows and hides it. And then you also have a layer for your actual icons that you're actually designing. So again, you can hide that and you can show it and you can lock it as well. Okay, I'm actually going to go to the plus in this layers palette, and I'm going to click and drag this down, and this is where I'm actually going to put my sketches. Okay, so I clicked it under the guides and under the icons, and this is where I'm going to insert my sketches. So after you've created that layer, I'm going to go over to the left where we have that picture icon. It's the mountain and the sun, and I'm going to go to my photos, And you're either going to pick, if you did a screenshot of your annotated grid, or you're going to pick your actual sketches that you took pictures of. So I'll go ahead and pick one. And then you can see that, I'm going to close this. We can rotate this because it kind of put it in, make sure that you have that. Nope. Where'd it go? So that's the other thing is that, I am going to lock the other ones while I'm working. So that's the cool thing is that you can lock so that you can select. Oh, it's oh my gosh, guys. Of course, when I'm here, I'm going to just hide them and then there we go. Okay. When I'm trying to do a video, then I can't see. And then you can enlarge it too as well. So you can just pull. And so what you do is you could use this as, just a guide to put your artwork on. And then once you just use it to draw over it, and then when you're done with it, you can actually delete this layer so that you don't need it anymore after you've used it as a guide. So with that selected, I can hit the garbage can once I've traced over this, okay? So when I'm making my icon, I would actually lock this guide, and then I might keep my guides off, while I'm just tracing it. And then I'm going to go back to my your icon layer, and this is where I'm actually going to make the icon. So let's just pretend that I'm doing this play. I was thinking about, what represents me and what would I want on a drawstring bag. And I wrote just off to the side on my sketches. Here, I can show you. When I took pictures of my sketches, this was my first, one, and I was like, what am I? I'm a teacher, I'm a graphic designer, I'm a photographer, I'm a videographer, I'm a mom, I'm an organizer, and I was, like, oh, icons of like me doing things, doing these things. Then I thought about symbols that I thought represented the kind of things that I did, and I really liked the play pause kind of thing, this idea of an apple representing teaching, or and a symbol, objects can be symbols or they could be indexes. So I was like thinking that the camera could be more abstract and be more of a symbol, or it could be an index of what I do as a photographer. I also liked the idea of using the pen tool, that's in Illustrator as an index of something that I do, or a video camera. And then I also did my final sketches, which are a little bit more precise. I kind of like the idea of putting symbols together, and that idea of like there's always a time for these things, of playing, of pausing, of stopping, reflecting back and stuff. I kind of like the symbolism of all those video symbols and putting them together, and that representing like almost this play in life, but also this idea that I teach video and you consume videos. And then you can see that I brought in that pen tool again, and then I also started thinking about, I really like to organize, and I was thinking about how I just like the idea of these boxes representing things in my life or objects in my life, or again going back to more of these bigger ideas of like I also like the idea of maybe just adding 3 boxes, like a ... And it's also representing structure and organization and stuff like that. So I took it pretty far, and those were some of the ideas that I had when I was thinking about what would I want on, my drawstring bag that represents me or life, or, what I would want on my bag. And those were the 3 that I kind of came up with after those. Okay, so those were my ideas. And so again, I kind of like this idea of, I think I would go with, if I had to pick one, I'd probably do the play, the pause. Okay, so you have choices, right? Remember, you could actually use the pen tool. And again, before you start on the pen tool, just make sure that that one layer is locked. I'm going to hide the guides for right now, and then make sure that you're on the your icons layer while you're actually drawing. So you could use the pencil tool to draw, okay? Or you can use, so if you didn't play the Boolean game, I really highly recommend it. But you could also start with, just shapes, and then maybe a combination of the pen tool, then we can actually kind of get rid of points and then use the direct selection tool to move points. So it's really up to you. After you've done those worksheets, you kind of understand all the different ways that you can approach it. And then after you've created it, you could add, whatever color. So for your initial icon, I just want you to just do them in black. And let's pretend I just traced all of them. What you would do then is you're going to pick the other layer that has the picture on it, and I'm going to unlock it and pick that layer. It's not recognizing my finger right now. That's cool. There we go. So I'm going to select that, go back, and then hit the trash can to get rid of it when you're all done with it. And then I can come back here and I can turn my guides back on so that I can see them, and I can come and actually move this object, and I can enlarge it and take up the whole artboard. And you could always come back and turn off guides and stuff to look at your final icon. Okay, when you're all done, then you're just going to come up to share, and where it says publish and export, make sure that you pick PDF. Some people turn it in as an AI file, and it doesn't work for me to let me actually see that. So make sure that you export as a PDF, and then you could come here to Canvas, and then where it says course, you're going to do the summative final icon, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So also the last thing that I wanted to show you was that we really want this to be precise. So you could, let's pretend that I drew this with the pencil tool. Don't forget that with the direct selection tool, you could pick more than one point and come over here to align and just make sure that points are aligned, because again, you want it to be perfectly mathematical. You want everything to be nicely curved and simplified and everything. So I can't recommend enough that before you start the summative that you really have to do the digital worksheets, the Illustrator for iPad 3 worksheets, so that you understand how to use Illustrator. Awesome. Okay,